to be here now with you and feel the presence of God. It's been a pretty decent week for me. You guys we talked this morning in meditation. You have a good week, some wonderful things happening, or we may have had some challenges this week, or it didn't quite go the way you'd like for it to go. Either way, we are blessed to be here. And I certainly want to, as you know, we've been talking for quite some time about it's all about you and how we get to know God and our relationship with God. And last week we talked about what you believe. What do you believe about God? Because it's all about you. It doesn't matter what I believe. I'll get up here on Sunday mornings and there'll be other people getting us speaking, and we'll have wonderful talks and good stories and all of that, trying to share with you how we discovered our own personal relationship with God in an effort to help you find your own personal relationship with God. And we've talked about coming from our God characters, the characteristics of God, which for us, as we describe and start to look at what our core values are, and there are so many core values. And we decided that, I decided for you, that we were only going to look at 5, because there's just so many, but we can handle 5. And so what are our top 5 core values? And the reason we want to do that is so that we can live from that, so that we show up with our God characteristics in whatever we do as we go on our day. And here's the reason why I want to share with you a story, because we don't always come from those places, do we? No, we don't. And one of the things, the reason why I talked about belief, because this is something that I believe. Not everybody agrees with me, and that's okay. It's not about that. It's about what do you believe and what works for you. So here's what I believe. I believe that there's actually only two things that occur in our lives that move us through our lives. And that is love or fear. Those 2 things. Everything else that comes is the iteration of those 2 things, love and fear. And one of the reasons for me that my God characteristics don't show up, it has to be because something fearful happened. And my God self was moved to the side of my ego self, and fear self showed up. So I love to love people. I love to, I talked last week about showing up in a room. Hey, how you doing? How's everybody? How you? Yeah, I'm always doing that. I love to greet people. So this week, I don't know if you guys, I got this newsletter. It's called The Thrillist. And it's got to be some 30-somethings who haven't done anything in their lives. I'm just saying. That write this thing, but I love it. I love to see what, and they're always talking about the best beer in the 50 states, and what's the best bar to hang out with, and all this kind of stuff. But hey, if I want to go get a beer, I know where to go, as far as these guys are concerned. But anyway, I read that, and they were talking about last Thursday was Free Taco Thursday, November the 1st. Something about, I'm not into sports, but something about a sports team and somebody was a taco hero or something. Right. Yeah, okay. So, some sports team. Anyway, so on last Thursday, November the 1st, they had free taco. Now, I love Taco Bell. If you ask me where I want to go, it's always Taco Bell. And even though I don't necessarily like meat, I go there and get their refried meat, whatever it is. But they were giving away free tacos. So I get there. And it was from 1 to 6. Well, that's what they said in the list. Actually, it was from 2 to 6. That's okay. So I show up, and it's at lunchtime. I never go out at lunchtime because I'm retired and I'm old, and I don't have to be out at lunchtime like everybody else. Brian was working. I can go any other time I want to. So I try not to be out at lunchtime with all the young people. But anyway, so I'm out there at lunchtime. And it's just a lot of traffic, and I'm walking. I'm in a parking lot, so I'm walking across. And I looked cars coming on. I'm looking at cars coming. I looked again. No car coming. Did I look back this way? No. I just stepped out. And there was a car about 2 yards from me. And I stepped in front of her. And she blew the horn. Scared the heck out of me. Because I didn't see her. Right? Scared the heck out of me. So, love didn't show up at that point. I'm just saying. didn't show up. So I'm standing there in front of her car, and there's nobody behind her, so I wouldn't hold anybody else up. And she's got the windows rolled up, she's got her earphones on, so I'm just doing this. I'm not saying anything. She's in the car doing the same. We're carrying on. All I wanted to do, because she pissed me off, was just to make her stand there. Just sit there. Look, you could have been gone, but you blew the horn. So now, and finally the love showed up. And I said, okay, let me talk to the woman. So I come around to talk to her, and she took off like a shot. She didn't want to hear anything from this crazy woman. She's like, it was too late. It was too late for the love to show up. But my thing was that I had to look and think what happened there, because I don't like that. I generally don't want to do that. I want to show up in love, but what happened was it scared me. I didn't expect it, and when the horn blew, my heart just shot up, and I was like, wah! And that's what happens. So one of the reasons why we're here, the reason why I bring that up is to talk about why we're here. Because we're human beings. And while we look at and we talk about and we try to decide and discover who exactly we are and who, under the best circumstances, would we like to show up as. These are our 5 core things. It doesn't always happen. And that's okay. Because I get to choose, you get to choose, whether the ego self or the God self, and clearly the ego self showed up, and when the God self tried to show up, it was too late. But the ego or the God self, we get to choose that. And we need to take some time to take a look at exactly who that is or what that is for us. So last week we talked about, what do you believe? What do you believe? This week I want to talk to you about, the talk title is The Greatest Good. Heaven is within us. Heaven is within us. We want to get to understand that. And once we know that, we get to show up more and more with our God self. With our God self, even through the times when we're fearful. We talked this morning about the difference between happiness and joy. And Glenn reminded me that Jesus said, so I was trying to explain why I thought joy was higher than love. And he said, Jesus said, can you do the quote? What was the quote about Jesus and joy?
My joy I leave with you.
My joy I leave with you. When he was leaving it, my joy I leave with you. And he was talking about the joy of the Lord. Talking about the joy of God. So the joy of God and the joy that we have, the difference between happiness and joy, we can be happy because we see a good movie, it makes us laugh. We're sitting here right now, we're laughing at things, that makes us happy. But joy is a deep knowing and contentment that you have a relationship with God, that through the fear, that through the things that we show up in our human self, we are still our God self. And that self can show up the next choice we make. Because the joy, God is always with us. Because it has to be, because God is within. God is within. So that's what we want to talk about today. And what I want to share with you, what I would like for you to take away, the walk away from this talk today, knowing that God is everywhere present. There is only one power, one presence, one all, everywhere being, and that is God. That's all there is. It's only God. That one presence, that one power is responsive. When we call upon God, we talked about that the last week when I was reading from the Message Bible, and God said, I know what I'm doing. I have plans for you. If you look for me, you will find me. Amen. And I promise you will have a great life. This is the promise of God. So this is what we're trying to do, is to discover the God within, that God is everywhere. God is within. We are that power. And what exactly is, what's the greatest good mean? What's the greatest good that we can get from coming to know that? That's what we want to share with you today. So, God is everywhere present. What does that mean? God is all. And we say it all the time, but what does that mean? Everything that's here starts with God. There is no other way for anything to be here except that it's sourced from God. Okay? It's sourced from God. So if everything is, God is everywhere present and everything is sourced with God, then what does that mean to us? And how do we know that? And we do. We already know that. So here's what I'd like for you to do. Did I just turn up? No? Okay, just me. All right, just turn my head.
You got closer to the
Microphone.
monitor.
Huh?
You got closer.
Oh, that
to
what it
the
was?
monitor.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. What I'd like for you to do, all of us have an experience of a knowing of God. That we wanted something, and we knew without a shadow of a doubt that it was going to happen. We knew it. There are times when we pray and we ask for stuff and we know it's a hope and a wish. And then there are times when we pray and we ask for something, we know without a shadow of a doubt that that is going to happen. I want you to think about that time right now. Just take 15, 20, 30 seconds. Because it's a big thing. I want you to think about that. Just really quick. All right? Just think about that. And the reason why I want you to think about it, and if you didn't come up with it, think about it later. Come up with it. Because this is the linchpin for your life. This is the go-to experience. And I shared with you a couple of go-to experiences that I have. I talked with you a couple weeks ago about the house that I was looking for and didn't get one the first time, and the next time I got it, I knew that I was going to get it. There's no question in my life, in my mind, that I was going to get it. I was at one of those, it was like a Tupperware party, but it was for jewelry. I don't remember what it was. And I walked in, and there was a friend of mine that was doing it, so I was there to support her, and I was going to buy some stuff. And everybody got like a ticket. 2 times this happened. Everybody got a ticket. And so, because she was going to do a drawing. And I said, no, I knew I was going to win it. And I didn't want to be the one, because I was already her friend. I was already going to buy stuff from her. I wanted someone else to win it. And so I said, no, I don't want to take the ticket, because I don't want to take it. I know I'm going to get it. And she said, no. She didn't know how I knew. I don't know how I knew either. I just did. And of course I did. I won it. And I put it back in the box and said, give it back to someone else, because I don't want to do it. There are times when you know. So the question becomes, that feeling, whatever that is, however you know, when you pray, when you're asking for something, you have to get to that level of knowing. And you know what it's like. You can tap into your own experience. You don't have to believe me. Tap into your own experience. You know what that's like. Know it to that level. Believe it. It's not even about a matter of believing. See, there's a difference between I believe something's going to happen, and I know it's going to happen. So how do we show up when we know that God is going to show up and answer that prayer? And here's the thing: we know if there's only one presence and one power in the universe, it's always been, right? If the law is now, so gravity is now, gravity didn't start yesterday. Right? It's always been gravity. So if we're talking about God as a law, which is what we're talking about, a principle that works for everyone the same way, the only difference in how it shows up in your life is your level of knowing. That is the only difference. Because God, the law is the same. Right? All the time. Always the same. So that means your past, you look at your history, God was there. Has to be, because God's in you. You look at your future, your present right now, God is here. If you look at your future, God will be there, because there is no past, present, or future for spirit. It's everywhere, which is why spirit knows. You talk about all-knowing. Knows what your future can be. I have plans for you. Plans for your future. Plans to prosper you. So how do we get that prosper? We have to develop a relationship. This is what this is all about. Okay? So we talk about God as source, that God is everywhere present. And we have this knowing. We look for clues. I already talked about this. The nature of God is us. We are the activities of God. All of the characteristics we talk about, you want to have God show up in your life, it's us. We are. What is that? There was a cartoon. I think you just did it the other day. I've seen the future. It is us. I've seen the future. It is us. You see the future. It is you. You're the future. What we do today. See, where we are right now is because of how we believed and thought before in the past. Isn't that correct? If you want a different future, what has to happen?
Change your beliefs.
Right now. Today. Start today. The reason why I'm hammering so much on today is because, and right now, is because we're intellectuals. We are. We love to read all about it. We love to talk all about it. But are we actually being about it? Do you understand what I'm saying? Are we being about it? Because when you are about it, when you are about God's business, then you live the life of your dreams, of God's plans for you. So that's what we're talking about here, God's nature. And God is responsive to us. The reason why we know that is because how do you know that you're here right now? How do you know?
I can see my toes.
That's a good one. Right? But how do you know we're here and this is not a dream? How do you know you're awake? Yeah, you just do. It's not a question to be pondered. It just is. Okay? So how do you know God is? Because it is. Because God is. No need to ponder it. No need to get in your head about it. You know it's true. If you are self-aware, you are God-aware because God is within. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You don't need to talk about it and carry on about it. And, what is it, that whole discussion about how many angels on the head of a pin? Who cares? Right? How does that change your day? How does that change your day? This is about your life. Every single day. How is your life better? How is your life unfolding the way you want it to? I was at a writing workshop yesterday. Here, you guys here in Fort Worth have a great city. Really do. You guys are always doing great stuff. And at your community college, oh man, always got a great thing. Man, hell. And I was at that north one, the one that has the river or the lake or whatever that is. That's where the workshop was. What is it? Northwest Campus. Oh my God. I just want to go over there and get rowing. I mean, I don't row. But it was just so beautiful. Anyway, I went to a writing conference. You guys, it's always free stuff. Free stuff. It was a free writing conference. The guy in there, the one, and you get to make all these choices. So I went to one, and it was about creativity. So we always think that creativity is about, being a writer, or being an artist, or, being a singer, or whatever it is. We're all creatives. If you are a child of God, which you are creative. What you're waiting for, I have no idea. Because you have the power to create whatever it is you're here to do. And believe me, you're here for a reason, a purpose. Our whole life is to find out what that is and then live that. That's what our whole life is actually about. People, what is life about? So life's about living. It's about living the reason you're here, which is in you, and you know what that is. So I'm there, and it was a creative workshop, and the guy was talking about the brain. He wanted to talk about how, and so, I snoozed to the first part, because it was all about science and all that kind of thing. Left brain and right brain and this and that. But he wound up, it was so wonderful, and he talked about the difference between convergent thinking and divergent thinking, right? Which is, divergent thinking is the ability to think outside, not think outside the box, we hear that all the time, but open your mind and your heart to possibility. That's all it is. Divergent thinking is not showing up and saying, well, this is the way we've always done it, and this is a good way, because we don't, even though we love to be creative and all that, we actually are afraid of change. And the reason we're afraid of change is because we don't know what it's going to look like. But here's what you need to know. As a creative, and being a child of God, which we all are, whatever you need to know will be given to you. We talked about this, right? That you don't have to worry about showing up, because God will give you the information you need. Spirit will share with you the information you need. You don't never have to be afraid of anything that you're being called to do. And you know that you're being called to it when you have a desire for it. Your heart is, you're yearning for it. So you know that that's a calling for you. And God will, you don't need to know. And particularly when you're doing something new that no one has done before. People will tell you that all the time. Oh, that's never been done. Like, that should stop you. So, it's going to be done now. Right? I'm doing it. It's done. Me, with you and God, you can't be stopped. Just that's what we're trying to get to. So at the end, and so this is my point, because I talk about this all the time, and you guys are probably sick of me saying it, but I'm not going to stop because it's what's important: prayer and meditation. At the end of this workshop, he had us all meditate. He did. And it was wonderful. He talked about how meditation opens up your mind and allows, you're calm and relaxed, and allows information to come to you. We talked about this is where you meet God. So he's at a writing conference talking about creativity, and really I wanted to stand up and say, you're just talking about God, baby. I didn't mess up his conference in that way, but that's what it was. So you'll hear it in many, many different ways. When you're talking about a spirit, allowing spirit to show up in your life as the creative force that you are. So that's what we get to do. God has to be responsive. Has to be. Because we are God. God is within us. God is within us. The way that God responds to us is by corresponding through our thoughts. And that's how we do it. So that's what Jesus meant when he said, the Father and I are one. That's what we get to do, right? The Father and I are one. He has to be corresponding to his children. His, and I say his, her, it's creation. Okay? It's creation has to. Can you imagine having a child hearing a cry and not picking it up? That doesn't make any, right? It doesn't make any sense. Of course God responds to its creation. We are God. We are a part of God. My finger hurts, I respond to it. This is all who we all are. This is what we get to do. So if we knew that God was responsive, I'm going to go back. How would we live differently if we knew? How would we live? What would your life show up like? What would it be like? If you knew you couldn't lose, if you knew that you and God were one. And here's a part of the issue that happens, and I'm going to do the back again. As I close, how would your life show up differently if you absolutely knew that you were a child of God and God responded to you? How would you show up something? Would you walk into a job interview knowing one or two things? Either you had this, or they were fools for not hiring you. Right. Correct? Right. Correct. And something better was waiting for you. That's it. Yeah. That's what you would know. That's what you would know. You step into a new classroom, you're trying to learn something, you step in and you know. I don't care what, and there's a lot of people that start off a class, and I don't know why they do this. The teacher will go, well, this is hard stuff. And the tests are going to be hard. Hard. And and just putting it in your head, and all of a sudden you're fearful, like, oh my God, I can't get it. But if you knew who you were, wouldn't you just say in your mind, yeah, for him or for them, not for me? Not for me. Right? That's how we would show up if we knew. So I'm asking you, is that how you're showing up in your life? Because if you're not, then there's room for a greater relationship. If there's room for a greater relationship, what we are talking about, all we're trying to do in our lives is unify our minds with the mind of God. There's nothing we need to do. There's no magic wand. There's nothing you need to know. God is already within us. If we're not getting what we want, we just need to align with the truth of who we are. Right? With the truth of who we are and have a relationship. Who is your living? I want you to think about somebody living. Who would you like to have a discussion with, if you could, that is living? You don't have to call it out. If you want to, you can call it out. But just think about someone you'd like to speak with and talk to right now. For me, it'd probably be Serena. Because she's just so powerful, or maybe Michelle, Obama, because just what she went through. Maybe Oprah. I don't know. But who would it be for you?
My daughters.
Okay. So she has her daughters. For me, it was Michelle. And if it's someone out there, whatever, can you just pick up the phone and call and ask them? Say, hey, this is not really going on in my life, I'd like some advice. Can you pick up the phone and call?
Yeah.
Most of you can't.
Will
Just
they
tell me.
answer? That's the question.
Yeah. Okay, exactly. Will they take your call? No. Why? Because we don't have a relationship with them. Okay? We don't have a relationship. If anything, so what I'm trying to share with you is to have a relationship with God, for you to get into prayer and conversation and meditation with God is for you, not for me, not for them. It's for you. So that when you need to capture the joy, knowing that whatever's happening in your life, people come and go, people pass away, things that you love. I had this fantastic cat. I didn't have him long. I called him Pink Floyd. He was white and he had like pink lips, pink gums. And so I called him Pink Floyd. And I was walking around the lake in Whitney, and it was a lake. It was also a campsite. So I'm walking in a direction. And there was these three older guys. Every morning we passed each other. They were passing them, and they said to me when I was going by, they said, "Hey, your cat's following you." And I turned around and said, "Oh, I don't have a cat. That's not my cat. He'll bail off, because it's a couple of miles around the thing." I said, he won't make it the whole place. He'll bail off. I kept going around, finished up. He followed me the entire way. I got to my car, took off my shoes and put on my tennis shoes, put on my car shoes, and I thought, well, as soon as I fire this car up, the cat will be gone. No, I fired the car up, cat's still sitting there. So I looked at him and I said, "So you're going home with me? Is that what's going on?" He climbed in the car. This is true story. Sat on my neck, right here. Sat on my neck, and I drove the entire way. Never moved, never tried to scratch me. All the way to the house. We had a lake cabin. I drove to the lake. I got to and Jason came out and he said, he saw the cat on my shoulder and he said, "Who's this?" And I said, "Well, it must be our cat." Right? Must be. So, we love that cat. So we had several cabins, and one of the cabins was my office, one was our bedroom, whatever. And I would go out in the morning to my office and go to work, and the cat would follow me, and this is no joke. The cat would grab hold of my leg, and I'd walk like this with the leg. Because the cat was just hanging onto my leg. I loved this cat. Well, it was a lake, it was forest. We came back I think we were in Waco, we came back, and clearly the cat was sick. He was just breathing hard. We had him for a couple of months, and he was just breathing really hard. And I called the vet, and I said, "I don't know what's going on." He said, "Something's wrong." And it was like Sunday. It was Sunday. And they said, "Well, we're closed." No, can you please come in? Can you please come in? Because I just love this cat so much. So he did. He actually came to his veteran office. I took him, and he said, We'll take care of it. We'll give him some chocolate. We don't think he's going to make. He's probably been bitten by a snake." Yeah. Okay. So Monday morning, they called me, and he'd passed away. I tell you, I had a meeting that day. I called it off because I said, a member of my family has died. Right? Jason, neither one of us could do anything for the whole day. So I'm telling you that things touch your lives. Doesn't matter. Animals, people, brothers, sisters, whatever. They come for whatever period they're supposed to be here. I have no idea why that cat was in my life. But I'm still talking about it. 15 years later, I'm still thinking about that cat. Okay? And that's what they do. That's what we do. We have impact on our lives and on other people's lives. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. One of the I can't remember which step it is, but on the 12 steps, and it's called the 12 steps of recovery, but actually, for me, and I've always used them, I'm in Al-Anon, because my father and all kinds of people in my lives were recovering, but I think it's steps to return to love. That's what they are, steps to return to love. Everything that's in those steps is something that we do in New Thought, or should be doing, as we're trying to figure out who we are. And one of those, I think this is the final step, could be 11 or 12, but it talks about going out and sharing this news with others.
Having had a spiritual awakening.
Having had a spiritual awakening, which is, thank you so much for that. My soul is awake. That was perfect. Having had a spiritual awakening. We have a spiritual awakening. Do we not?
Yeah.
Do we not? So we get to share this way of being. So what's the absolute knowing, because Spirit's going to guide and move us, and I'm going to go back. Spirit's going to guide and move us. We've had an absolute awakening. We get to share this good news if we know the good news, if we understand it ourselves. And one of the things I know about the people that I know that have recovered, the reason why it works when they go around people who are trying to recover as well is because the people that are talking to them know what they're talking about. They have walked the walk. Okay, I can't tell you about it. I don't know. I obviously don't know what it is. I get it and I feel for you. I'm empathetic, but I don't know what it is. We can't talk about this spiritual path and we're not doing it. We can't. We can't sell it. We can't go out there and we have to have a spiritual awakening before we can share it with other people. That's what we do here. So we're just looking to have a relationship with God and to have a spiritual awakening, to know that God. So what is the greatest good? The greatest good is having our absolute knowing of our relationship with God. Having an absolute knowing. Because when we absolutely know that, then we live knowing that we are children of God and we can't be stopped. We won't be stopped. And we live a life of joy. I'd like to take a moment to have this prayer treatment with you. You can read it along with me. I have some copies in the back if you'd like to take it with you. Because this is something, when things aren't quite going the way you'd like, repeat this prayer. This is a prayer for all of us. So please repeat after me. I am surrounded by pure spirit, perfect law, divine order, limitless substance which responds to me. It surrounds me. It is within me and in and around everything. It is perfect action in my affairs. I am guided by divine intelligence. There can be no mistakes. There is no confusion in my mind. I am certain. I am expectant. And I am receptive. And so it is. And so it is. Hallelujah. Amen.
Hallelujah.
Okay? When we know for sure who we are, we greet our lives with peace. I wouldn't be doing that thing I did the other day with the girl, just carrying on. Just not. We show up with peace. We show up as love. We show up as empathy. We show up as believing and joy and wisdom and all of that because we know and expect God to be there with us and to bring the peace and the power and the good that comes from knowing that. We know God. When we know God, we are triumphant and we transcend over any previous and any idea or thought of lack is simply an echo of the past. Just an echo of the past. It is not real. It is an echo of our past and not what our present and future can bring. Never. That's all it is. So, what I would like for you to walk away with, knowing that God is everywhere present, in and around. Please know that. If you don't know it now, pray and meditate. And it doesn't need to be a big deal. I've said it many, many times. Do 5 minutes. Today is such a peaceful day. I don't know why. It seems like a very peaceful day. And so we usually do about 10 minutes, and we did about 16, 17 minutes. And I told them, I said, we've gone over the 10 minutes. And go, no. Are you sure? Yeah. Because that's how it will be. As you grow in meditation, you will be there. The time won't matter. It goes into some sort of void. It doesn't matter. You just are there for whatever you need to be there for, and then you leave. It doesn't matter. That God is responsive. We pray and God will respond. And the greatest good is to know that. Is to know ourselves and our relationship with God. That's what we came here to know and to understand. So whenever those echoes of the past begin to sound, just repeat the prayer. If you didn't take a picture of it, there's a copy of it in the back. John has it. He'll pass it out to you. You can transcend and be triumphant over any perceived limitation at any time.